What is the most historically significant event you witnessed in person? I sat on the roof of our house and watched Mt. St. Helens erupt less than 100 miles away. I was standing on my front porch, watching the launch of the Challenger. 1964, Good Friday earthquake, 9.2 Richter. Was a boy in Cordova, Alaska at the time. The tumbling of the wall in Germany, along with people selling bits and pieces of it on tables in lobby in front of commissary and PX in the following weeks and months. I had picked up a chunk about the size of an Oreo and kept it, has blue spray paint on the flat side. Wonder if anyone is buying them now? I was in the crowd when RFK was shot. I would have to say the LA riots. I lived about 2 blocks from where it started. I was on my way home from school and saw someone throw a brick through a window. I didn't even wait. I just started running the whole way home. 9/11, I could smell the collapse of the towers. 7 rows back ringside when Tyson chomped Holyfield's ear off, flushed face. Boston Marathon bombing. I was there and then part of the medical team, the tents at the finish line. I've worked in the medical tents for a decade now. The year it was super hot, the news came to do a piece about us and used me with a patient as their backdrop. My phone erupted as soon as they aired it. I was a young barely high school student when Marcos was overthrown in the Philippines. I was part of the People's Power along with my dad, mom and brothers. We didn't feel unsafe, but that night after Marcos left the Philippines, we learned that the military was close to using force on the people. My dad was alarmed and was glad we're finally home safe, not sure why we went as a family, but at the time my parents felt being there was important enough. My parents are dead and I know they're probably turning in their graves when Marcos's son was recently elected as president of the Philippines. The last space shuttle launch. It was a very cloudy day, but the rumble lasted for a long time. Then my family and I got up early to watch the landing. We would hear the sonic booms too over our house. The 1953 testing of the Salk polio vaccine. I was volunteered for the event by my parents. Second most, 1968 Democratic Convention riots. Space Shuttle Columbia first launch in April 1981. I was at the Who concert in Cincinnati where all the people were trampled dead. I was within 6 feet of the pile of people that died. I was at Kennedy Space Center in Florida for the Challenger explosion as a little kid. I only realized something bad happened when I saw the horrified faces of the adults around me. I was 4 years old. I was in the SF Bay Area in 1989 when the Loma Prieta earthquake hit. Fortunately, I was in a park with my mom, so we both just got knocked to the ground and sat down and wrote it out, so we weren't in any danger and it wasn't super scary. The tearing down of the Berlin Wall. I still have a piece in my window. The 3 Mile Island nuclear accident. I was a young newspaper reporter, 21 years old, standing outside the plant the morning of the accident when the workers evacuated. They refused to say what if anything was wrong. I was the first reporter on the scene, as I had been writing about the many previous problems at the plant. The morning started off as a local news story. By lunchtime it was international news. There obviously were no cell phones. There was a single pay phone in front of the plant's observation center where we all had to take turns phoning in our stories. The 1993 World Trade Center bombing. It's mostly forgotten now that the towers are gone, but it was a big deal back then. I remember riding across the Manhattan Bridge and looking towards the bay and thinking, well, it looks okay from here. Halley's Comet, on my way to school in 1986. When the Berlin Wall came down, I went and chiseled a piece out of it myself. I would have got more, but I was rousted by the West German police. I still have it, but it has crumbled a bit and the graffiti is almost completely faded. I was 17 years old. Ran away from the 2004 tsunami. Twice. I watched MTV arrive on the air, playing video, killed the radio star, by the Buggles, smiley face. I was a few blocks up the road, staying with my GF at the time, when Ariel Castro was arrested and the women were rescued. I basically saw a lot of news vans in the area. I did later end up meeting Charles Ramsey, the guy who helped the women escape and call the police, and have a copy of his book that he signed. I was working in New York City ICUs in April 2020. Would not recommend. Terry Fox running during his Marathon of Hope. I accidentally got caught in that taxpayer march on Washington on September 12, 2009. First time I went to the Capitol. I just wanted to see Washington, D.C., since I moved to New Jersey a few months prior. Elon Musk has his spaceport in our backyard. We saw the launch of the world's tallest and most powerful rocket, and then it blew up. On September 11th, school in southwest Pennsylvania got let out and all 1,000+ students went silent as a plane flew overhead. Learned about Flight 93 going down in Somerset, Pennsylvania when I got home. I also saw Halley's Comet and the Challenger explosion from my granddad's boat in Florida, but I was little and don't remember either very well.